The 2021 Cape Town Cycle Tour, delayed from March to October, from late summer to spring, graced by good fortune to perfect weather. A day to remember for every one of the reduced field who took part in the 43rd edition of the Mother City's most famous race, the unofficial Amateur World Championships. A day that brings committed cyclists out in their thousands, alongside riders whose last time on a bike was the previous Cape Town Cycle Tour. No other cycling event boasts the same mix of serious and silly, of participants targeting a sub-3, sub-4 or even a sub-5 hour time, starting alongside riders on comedy bikes. And it's all for charity. The funds raised by the Cycle Tour are distributed by the Pedal Power Association and Claremont Rotary to hundreds of worthy causes across the city and the Western Cape. Numerous other charities take part too, using the event as a vehicle to drive fundraising, from Warriors on Wheels to I Love Boobies. The race provides a platform for not only a spectacular day out, but also to raise much needed money, to continue the great work that has become more difficult to fund in the last year and a half. For the fourth time, the elite women would be starting in Fish-Hoek in order for them to contest an entirely separate race. Though shorter than the traditional course, it ensures the women are unaffected by men's age groupers alongside them. In 2021, the leading protagonists in the women's race were expected to be South African road champion Hayley Preen, former Mauritian champion Kim LaCourt, British triathlete Emma Pallant, and South African cross-country champion Candice Lill. Their race would take in 78 kilometres of the Cape Town Cycle Tour route's 109 kilometres. For the rest of the 15,000 participants, the day would begin alongside the Castle of Good Hope in the heart of Cape Town. From the city centre, the famous course heads south, climbing Nelson Mandela Boulevard towards the University of Cape Town and the M3 highway. Edinburgh Drive is the second ascent of the race, before the long downhill drag along the Blue Route takes riders past Tokai and into Muizenberg. The route then traces the coast through Cork Bay, Fish-Hoek, Glencairn and Simonstown. After the flat coastal run, the climbing recommences with Smitswinkel before crossing the southern peninsula towards the Atlantic seaboard at Scarborough and Misty Cliffs. Cutting inland briefly, the route passes through Masiphumelele and Noordhoek on its way to Chapman's Peak, Hout Bay and Sekebosi. From the Sekebosi summit, it's largely downhill through Camps Bay, Clifton, Seapoint and Greenpoint to the finish line in the shadow of the Cape Town Stadium. In the women's race, Emma Pallant was the early aggressor. She was clearly keen on ensuring a fast pace to thin the group from its 80 starters to just the strongest riders. A lull in Pallant's pace setting at the foot of Smitswinkel provided the opportunity for Kerry Jonker to launch a stinging attack. The 25-year-old's move saw her racing solo up the first climb of the women's event, chased by the Paris Edwards-led peloton. Back in the city centre, those taking on the full route were gathering, awaiting the starter's orders. Though not about to start himself, Raymond Ackerman had also risen at 5 a.m.
It really is very special, especially getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But it's a great event, and this year we couldn't have our overseas people, and it's about half of what it's been for 30 years. But it's very, very exciting. For the whole of the country, I think that we're getting over COVID, and there's such a wonderful atmosphere here. So it really is a great day for Cape Town and a great day for all of us. I just want to wish the riders well. It looks like a beautiful day. It may be windy on the ride, but I don't think it's going to be anything but a lovely day and a calm Western Cape day. So I think we're all set for a great day.
All was set for a great day indeed, especially the elite men who had clear roads, cool weather and wind-still conditions ahead of them as they got underway.
Thank you very much. I want to say to all the sponsors and of course specifically to Cycle Tour, well done. You were the last event before we had to shut down for COVID-19. That was Cape Town Cycle Tour BC. And now, of course, we've passed that, and now it's Cape Town Cycle Tour PC, post-COVID. And this is the first kick-off event, and I cannot think of any better event than cycling around this beautiful peninsula. Have a great ride today, enjoy it, and know that you are starting a freedom ride really for so many people, just being able to get out there, but please do so safely. Thank you.
Once the flag dropped for the end of the neutral zone, the racing was quick to get underway. Tech Pro Cycling's Alwyn Steenkamp was the first attacker of the race, sprinting off the front of the sluggish peloton as it made its way up Nelson Mandela Boulevard. By the time he'd crested the summit at Hospital Bend, the young Namibian had a 15-second advantage on the chasing group behind. But if he was to stay away for any length of time, he would need breakaway companions to share the workload. Whether no one was willing or able to join Steenkamp at the front of the race in the kilometres that followed was unclear. But he soldiered on, alone through Rondebosch, Newlands and up Edinburgh Drive. The peloton behind keeping him in sight, but not actively hunting him down. It was only on the long Blue Route descent that Keenan Ruet and David Maria were able to bridge across to Steenkamp, and the day's break was formed.
The Trust has this really great job of being able to look after this iconic event of the Cycle Tour and keep the flow of funds coming through for the good work that is done by the beneficiaries of the tour. And of course it was a big blow to us in March when we couldn't have our normal Cycle Tour, and that's why we're really happy and excited to be able to do it now, even though it's a little bit smaller. It's going to keep us going, keep us alive, and it keeps everybody excited and able to enjoy this great event. I really want to pay a tribute to the guys who are taking part. It's not the same cycle tour as it maybe has been in the past. It's going to be fewer of us, but it really is a cycle tour. It's a 2021 cycle tour.
With the trio up the road, the pace setting in the peloton fell to Pedri Kraus. The 18-year-old is the reigning South African and African junior time trial champion, making him the ideal man for the job of keeping the tempo high on the flat false bay stretch. In the women's event, the racing was hot up Smitswinkel. Kerry Jonker had been brought back, which in turn had reduced the peloton to 30 riders. Once over the summit, Nicola Walker went on the offensive.
The race was good. The pace was high. It wasn't as hard as the previous years, but I felt confident in the climbs, and I felt like I was in the right space. My legs were good. I was feeling great, and I thought I would just try and save myself a bit for the sprint, as I'm not very confident in my sprint, as I've been doing a lot of mountain biking this year, so I kind of lost that kick. But yeah, the wind was not hard. Everything was perfect for an awesome day out.
It was a perfect day out, miraculously even on Chapman's Peak where the wind usually swirls. But not a breath of air moved as the elite women took on the climb. On the steepest pitch, the South African champion, Hayley Perrine, accelerated out of the reduced group. Behind, there was no panic as Candice Lill and Emma Pallant paced a selection of 6 other riders up towards the low leader. By the summit, a dangerous group had formed.
No, to be honest, I knew it was going to be 68 people, but the tricky thing is always staying away to the line without others catching us. So I think we did a good job at that today, maybe 1 or 2 caught. But yeah, it's always better to come with a smaller bunch to the line. Yeah, I mean, yesterday I did the King Prush Trail Seeker out in Bunhook, and it was so muddy and awful, you couldn't see a thing. And then to have a day like this today, it's really awesome. I really enjoy being on my bike, especially on days like this.
Candice Lill's sentiments of enjoying being on her bike, especially on days like this, would be echoed later by thousands of fun riders. But first, there was the descent of Chapman's Peak to negotiate. Meanwhile, in the men's race, the 3 leaders were still building on their advantage. By the time Alwyn Steenkamp Jr., Keenan Ruet and David Maria reached Simonstown, their lead was 1 minute and 7 seconds. The trio were working well together too, relying on the fact that the group behind was being driven on by a single rider. On the Smitswinkel ascent, they continued to swap off on the front, dragging each other up and over the summit and onto the gradual descent past the reserve. Usually that section is sped up by a tailwind, But even without wind assistance, Steenkamp, Ruud and Maria were able to maintain their 1-minute buffer to the now reduced group behind. For their part, the peloton behind was not too eager to reel the trio in too soon, so their pursuit was carefully measured. On the descent towards Ocean View, Dylan Geary slipped briefly off the front. That was more of an effort to remain safe than a bid to chase down the break ahead. The group was biding its time, knowing that Chappies and Suikerbos is where the race really gets serious. And so it proved, with Alwyn Steenkamp, Keenan Ruud and David Maria leading through Noordhoek. But behind them, the pace had increased significantly. Their advantage was rapidly evaporating. And on Little Chappies, Ruud was the first to be caught. Swallowed up and quickly spat out by the strung-out pack of favourites. Ahead, Alwyn Steenkamp and David Maria's moment in the limelight was extended by the short descent towards Chapman's Peak proper. Their stay of execution was short-lived, however. When the peloton hit the first ramps of Chapman's Peak, the surviving members of the break were rapidly absorbed too. With the climbers in the race knowing that they would have to get rid of riders like Nolan Hoffman and Travis Barrett, the pace was ferociously high. Here, experience can make the difference. Unlike on the steeper but shorter Suikerbos, tactics can be decisive on Chappies. Starting at the front of the group and slowly slipping back allowed Hoffman to reach the summit in contact with a race-winning selection. A group of nearly 30 riders had established itself by the time the leaders reached Hout Bay. They would be the riders who contested for race victory. By the time the women's race had reached Hout Bay, the lead selection had swollen from 9 to 11 riders, but Candice Lill split the field again on Suikerbos. Only 6 women would contest the sprint. They were the ever-present Emma Pallant, Kelsey van Schoor, Sanara Grovier, Hayley Preen, Candice Lill and Kim LeCourt.
Pretty surreal, to be honest. I did come in with no expectations. I got the green light from my sponsors only on Monday because I'm preparing for Epic, so we were a bit nervous to get into a crash or whatever today. So yeah, pretty happy. I knew I had a chance to get a good result, and I'm really happy I could pull it off for my team and my support team, which is my fiance, my parents, and yeah, my friends. So it's pretty chuffed.
Kim LeCourt took the win by half a wheel over Hayley Preen, with Candice Lill joining the former Mauritian champion and the South African champion on the podium. Customised cycling BioPlus rider Kelsey van Schoor and Sanara Grovier completed the top 5. The winning time for the 78-kilometre elite women's course was 2 hours 13 minutes and 36 seconds. Only Emma Pallant's finish line crash marred an otherwise incident-free edition of the race. Meanwhile, the elite men had summited Suikerbos. Nolan Hoffman knew being present in the front group there was key to contesting the sprint later.
We're battling this pandemic still, and I mean, I quite personally, I've lost a lot of people, and this time around is just, you know, getting out there and just showing good health and wanting it to honor those people that I've lost, and for the sponsors, you know, supporting us through this difficult time, and I mean also for the Cycle Tour Trust for presenting it this year. It just shows that we as a nation that we are fighting and we want to get through this, and to be winning the biggest stage of the calendar, you know, this is a cherry on the cake for me, and yeah, it's incredible, you know. I rode with such determination and just really happy that my stars aligned today.
The stars aligned for Nolan Hoffman as he won his 4th Cape Town Cycle Tour. Christian Janssen van Rensburg and Craig Boys were 2nd and 3rd respectively behind the race winner. They were joined by Louis Visser and Jaco Venter on the podium. Hoffman's winning time was 2 hours 37 minutes and 11 seconds and takes him to within 1 of Willy Engelbrecht's record of 5 wins. With the elite men's and women's titles decided, the attention could shift to the amateur riders who make up the bulk of the field.
Right, you are up nice and early as well. You're feeling fit, your bike is ready. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling fantastic. Today's also my 21st tour, so it's very special.
That is so special, eh? And we were thinking we weren't even going to be able to run a tour this year, huh?
Absolutely. I mean, check how it's turned out. Fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. And so how did you get your training done through this COVID?
Well, Sunday morning rides, I commute to work, so I got some riding in. And Sunday mornings and weekend rides, yeah, I got the distance in.
Are you cycling alone or you got other friends with you today?
My son's with me somewhere, and I'm hoping he's in front of me. I'm hoping to catch him.
It's always that's
the target, yeah.
It's always that little bit of rivalry, dad and son, eh?
Of course, and he'd better watch out. I'm on his tail.
Best of luck for your 21st ride.
Thanks, mate.
Let's pop in straight to Caroline. We're counting the seconds down, Caroline, until you're on your bike and you're out of here. Caroline, are you ready for today?
I'm ready. I'm in the mother city. I'm in the Republic of Cape Town. I'm in really.
And have you done this ride before?
It's my third time.
Third time, so you know what to expect, 100 and something plus kilometers, eh?
That's it, all about fun.
And you ready for some fun? I mean, where's your best part of the ride? I mean, Scarborough side or coming over the finish line?
Chapman's, the views. I'm just there for the views.
Well, head on, have a safe ride, and we'll see you at the finish,
eh? Thank you very much. Let's do this.
You can pick up the vibe. It's absolutely fantastic. We've only done one shoot, and you can just see the excitement down here at the Cape Town Cycle Tour. We'll be catching up as we go around the whole route from here down to Smutswinkel, over to Scarborough, back all the way Misty Cliffs, and then through Hartbeespoort home. So yeah, we'll check in with you a little bit later. Cheers.
Having a fun day on the bike is essentially what the Cape Town Cycle Tour is all about. And with the mother city's fickle weather playing along, it promised to be a perfect day for all, especially those first-timers taking on the race as the stoker on a tandem. While the event was officially a spectator-free one, the route through the suburbs still featured pockets of fans cheering friends and family members on.
Coming through Kalk Bay, it is still hot. There isn't a breath of wind, and I thought, let's check out the support down here. Sitting at a coffee table with Kevin. Kevin, how's it been going and what time did you set up?
We were set up here just before 6 and just the locals are down here. The cyclists came through here just before 7 o'clock, and great to see the peloton. It was a really fantastic day. The weather couldn't have been better. The locals are amazing here. You can see the guys having breakfast out on the pavements. The music is pumping, the guys are cheering. No, we're having a fantastic time here.
Right, we're going to wrap up. I'm going to jump on the bike and we're going to head on off to Simonstown. Let's go check in on Simonstown a bit later.
Much like Dion Bing, the riders are on their way towards Simonstown too. Arguably the most festive section of the route, along with the stretch up Suikerbossie, the False Bay Coastal Cruise and the Cape Town Cycle Tour is very special. The narrow roads through the historic coastal suburbs are popular with cyclists throughout the year, but are best ridden during the race. Only then are they free of traffic and the riders can worry-free take in the spectacular scenery from their bikes.
Good vibe. The sun is still shining. There isn't a breath of wind in Simonstown. And I've stopped with Andrew and Layla. Andrew, you're living in South Africa, but Layla, you from?
I'm from Hungary.
And how many have you done, Cape Town Cycle Tours have you done before?
I've done the first one last year, right before the lockdown.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much fun, Andrew, is it to be cycling together?
No, it's a lot of fun. We've had a good laugh all the way around as well. And everyone's got there's just a really good vibe as well. I think everyone's just happy to be outside and back to normal.
How wonderful is that? Everybody has just got this energy back. Everybody's got the energy back. It's so wonderful to be out again and just enjoying Cape Town as it should be.
Enjoying Cape Town as it should be enjoyed by taking in the city's fantastic natural beauty, making the most of one of the world's most remarkable urban natural interfaces. And nowhere's that connection closer than on Chapman's Peak Drive. Though riding up it is not all easy going, especially for the less fit riders in the cycle tour field. It can be a scenic slog from Noordhoek to the lookout point overlooking Hart Bay, but the views always make the climb worthwhile. And on a rare day like the one which graced the 2021 race, No wind, the ascent is a touch easier. Only the heat rising off the tarmac was a slight limiting factor. But with additions like the windswept 2017 race still fresh in frequent riders' memories, hot and calm was certainly preferable to cool and blustery, as former Springbok captain Victor Matfield can attest to.
Yeah, I think it's my fourth one that I'm here. Although I only rode in two, I think the wind got hold of us and we were halfway at the start and we had to turn around. Yeah, it's just a fantastic tour. I think it's the prettiest, the nicest cycle race in South Africa. I mean, the scenery is just unbelievable. And it's so nice. I mean, we've been through 2 crazy years with COVID, and just to get together here and have everyone excited. You can hear everyone talking about Smitswinkel and how they're going to do chappies, and it's just unbelievable, the buzz around this Cape Town cycle tour. Yeah, I love the finish. I mean, when you go through Camps Bay, Clifton, it's just beautiful. Then all the hard riding is done. It's almost downhill. So getting there, but I mean, from the start, you start off going around, everything is so pretty. So yeah, I think we're going to enjoy it.
Matfield was certainly not alone in enjoying the perfect conditions. After the blast down from the summit of Chapman's Peak, the climb out of Hout Bay and up Seikobosi represented the final challenge of the race. On tired legs, Seikobosi is anything but easy, and a helping hand from a fellow rider or riding partner is appreciated by many. But the climb is mercifully relatively short, and the crowds were out in force too, cheering riders on as they ground their way up over the route's final significant climb. Then drop down towards 12 Apostles, the Atlantic Ocean glistening to their left like a lake, azure and calm, unruffled by the wind. Not a white-capped wave in sight, other than the rollers breaking on the rocks and beaches on the run towards Camps Bay. For the competitors, thoughts could begin to turn to the finish line celebrations, post-race meals and thoughts of the rapidly approaching 2022 Cape Town Cycle Tour. After a 7-month delay to the 2021 race, the 44th edition will take place just 5 months after the 43rd on the 13th of March 2022. Entries are already open, and perhaps riders will have even continued with their training programs. Even those who hang up their bikes between editions of the race will be better prepared than ever before, with half the taper they usually implement.
It's the first time for me, but it's definitely not the first time for Pick n Pay. It's 3 decades, 30 years in association. We couldn't have asked for a better event. The weather has been fantastic, and you can just see by the cyclists who've attended, what an incredible event. South Africa has needed this. The city of Cape Town has needed this for a long time. We've gone through a very difficult time as a country. The country's faced a lot, especially with the coronavirus that has been around. But absolutely, a full applause goes to the team of organizers. Fantastic. From that time that gun was shot this morning and the entire pelotons and races left, how fantastic was it to be able to be absolutely smiling back again? And you could see with all of the participants as they crossed the line saying thank you to the sponsors. Such a big event. We last held this 3 weeks before the pandemic gripped us. Now this is the first major event, and it just shows that we're back on the map, and we followed all the COVID-19 protocols, and Pick n Pay is just so proud to be associated now. 30 years of association, and it's onwards and upwards. Congratulations to all of the winners and the participants. In fact, everyone's a winner, and they've been thanking us. They've been thanking the sponsors, and they've been thanking the race organizers to say thank you, we're back. What a statement we've made.
What a statement the Cape Town Cycle Tour and its sponsors made, hosting the event under extraordinary circumstances, but within sight of a return to more normal life. The real heroes of 2021 were the participants, however. The men and women who placed their trust in the event, who entered, trained for and took part in the Cape Town Cycle Tour, who made the most of the perfect weather to smile their way around the 109-kilometre loop of the peninsula to showcase the mother city's indomitable spirit. In just 5 months, the opportunity to explore Cape Town by bike arises again. And what better advertisement for the next Cape Town Cycle Tour can there be but this one?